All right, guys, this is Norval Central coming back at you on the YouTube video. And I come bearing some good news as Florida State has actually gotten a four-star wide receiver, Elijah Moore from Maryland. He is a prospect that Florida State's been on for quite some time. They offered actually back in March of 2021, and he finally made his commitment known on July 4th. And I think that's very important for Florida State to continue to get big body receivers because as you look at it, Florida State does have four wide receivers committed to their class in BJ Gibson, Camden Fryer, TJ Abrams, as well as Lane McCoy. And I think those four guys are very, very impressive, but none of them are over 6 foot tall. So when you look at that, it's a 6'4", 190-pound wide receiver, can high point the football very well, does a lot of great things physicality wise that I think you can kind of bring to the table. Versatility is also kind of a factor as well because you can put him on the outside, you can put him in the slot. I think there's a lot of good factors that you can be able to do with him. Now, the biggest competition for him was Ohio State, believe it or not, because Ohio State has developed a lot of great wide receivers lately. And he actually officially visited during the June 2nd weekend for Ohio State. Of course, Florida State was able to kind of get him in on that last weekend of June 23rd when everybody was coming to campus at that point. And, Elijah Moore, after the exit interviews, had actually talked about how Florida State was his number one school. Ohio State was the other team in competition, and he was going to be deciding on July 4th. Next thing you know, Florida State kind of got a layup with this. Has been predicted to Florida State, had four crystal balls over in that direction. Is a top 500 prospect in terms of talent. I think he's going to elevate his game a little bit more as he goes through and develops slowly but surely. But I do think Florida State could be in a very good position to continue to add more wide receivers as well. This doesn't really impact the JoJo Trader situation or Jeremiah Smith or Cameron Coleman. There's a lot of different wide receivers they're still going after. You don't really know what's going to happen with TJ Abrams just yet, as he's kind of still wavering between Florida and Texas A&M and Florida State. That's kind of waiting to be seen. And with McCoy, he did officially visit earlier this part of June, and he has not officially visited Florida State yet. So will he do that during the season? Will he kind of waver to UCF? We'll kind of figure out as we go through with all of those factors. But I do think this is a huge get for Florida State as Ron Dugans continues to prove the doubters wrong because you look at it, the 22 cycle, he wasn't really able to bring in any prospects. Travis Hunter was kind of a wide receiver slash cornerback prospect. And then you also had Kevin Coleman as well. That was another prospect that he kind of missed on and went to Jackson State at that point. Jalil Skinner. There was a couple of guys there that you thought Florida State was going to be able to bring in. They kind of put all their eggs in one basket, but this year, man, it is not happening. They are putting all of their targets in there and being able to get as many playmakers as they can on the opposite side of the ball to help your budding superstar Luke Cromenhawk be able to be successful. So really, when you look at all the wide receivers they have, you have Johnny Wilson that's going to be leaving after the season. Maybe a Keon Coleman as well. He actually alluded to this will be his only 9 months that he's going to be on campus as well. So just kind of factoring all that in, I think Florida State's kind of setting all of its chips on the table for this year and kind of see where everybody kind of lands after the conclusion of this year. Hopefully, some guys come back, but you never know. And with those guys that are coming into the class in the 24 class, they could definitely play some significant playing time if they do have some talent on this roster. I think Moore can be a guy that can develop into a year two, year three kind of guy and can be a really, really good contributor for Florida State. But I'm super glad to have him in the class. I think he brings a lot to the table in terms of just development and a big body receiver that you're kind of missing in this class. And I think you can really factor in if you have him and Landon Thomas, who is also about 6'3", that would be something that Florida State can kind of factor into. But I think Ron Dugans has also got a huge get and trying to get more prospects into this class. So don't doubt his recruiting abilities. I think he's going to continue to develop and get those guys ready to go as they come into campus. But I think he made a huge get as soon as Elijah Moore did this, and they had great evaluations on the kid. So super excited for him, and I cannot wait for his future at Florida State. But I really appreciate all the love and support as always. Be sure to follow my social media accounts as well. Like the video before you leave. Let's go ahead and comment the thoughts. Get a couple of shout outs to Elijah Moore as he goes and makes his commitment to Florida State today. And super excited to see where all the other classes end up in terms of where Florida State sits in this class. But thank you very much. And I hope you all have a great rest of the day and go Noles.